you've been playing that wrong. This is another in a series of videos on rules that are commonly misinterpreted in Scythe or misplayed in Scythe. And today's video concerns the enlist action. The enlist action, I think, is probably one of the most confused actions in Scythe, but it's one of the most fun actions in Scythe, one of the most powerful. I think the biggest misunderstanding I've heard is, why would I take the enlist action? I don't want to do anything that benefits my opponents. The enlist action does not benefit your opponents. It allows you to benefit from your opponent's actions. So let's see how this works. All right, so in order to take the enlist action, I'm going to have to use this particular space on the board, the one that has enlist as my bottom row action, and I'm going to have to spend some food resources in order to trigger that action. In fact, right now, I do have 3 food, so I'm in good shape to take this particular action. So let's go ahead and do that. I move this to this space on the board. As you can see, the top row action here is move. I can move two of my units, one space each. And I think I'm probably going to be interested in building some mechs next, so I will move these 2 workers over to this space here. And that's the end of my move action. And now my bottom row action occurs, and I can now enlist the recruit by paying those 3 food. So I announce my intention to enlist, pay my 3 food, and then I can enlist a recruit. Now your recruits are symbolized by these cylinders at the bottom of the board here. And one mistake people make is they assume they've got to enlist this guy because he's right next to the enlist action. Okay? But if that was true, how would you ever enlist any of your other recruits? So people usually quickly realize, no, that can't be the rule. And in fact, that's not the rule. When you take the enlist action, you can remove any of your recruits or enlist any of those recruits. Now you'll notice earlier in the game I performed this action once already, and I enlisted this particular recruit here, which will give me a benefit whenever I or certain of my opponents deploy a mech. So now I'm going to have to choose one of the other options. And I know that I'm sitting next to Polonia there, and Polonia's got a nice little wood pile. So I think Polonia is probably going to build a structure pretty soon. So to get an advantage off of my opponent building a structure, I'm going to choose to enlist this recruit. Whenever I or certain of my opponents build a structure, I will get an increase in my popularity. Now where does this guy go? This guy goes over to your faction map. You can see there are 4 spaces to hold your recruits once you've enlisted them, and this gives you a one-time bonus. So previously, when I enlisted the deploy mech recruit, I took some popularity for it, and this time, because I am Crimea, and because my special ability involves combat cards, I think I'll take a couple of combat cards here. And I take that immediately. Okay, I got a 2 and a 2, and not the best combat cards, but I can use that with my special ability. Now, I don't get any other bonuses for taking the enlist action. Most of your bottom row bonus actions will give you some bonuses in coins, so my turn is done. However, I've taken the enlist action, so I have to announce that to my opponents, because it's possible that one of my opponents has recruited this to benefit off of my move. And in fact, Polonia has done so. Whenever Polonia enlists, or whenever the player to Polonia's right or left enlists, Polonia will get a combat card. And I am to the right, Albion's to the left, Tagawa's across the table. So this is satisfied. So now I announce that to the Polonia player, and the Polonia gets a nice little bonus from my action. That's the end of my turn. Now it's Polonia's turn. Polonia has decided to bolster, taking the bolster action. Allows Polonia to move up 2 on the power track. And then for the bottom row action, Polonia is going to build a structure. Polonia does that by removing 3 wood from the board. Polonia can then build any of these structures that Polonia wants to. Polonia is keen on building lots of structures, so they're going to put the mill in the game. The mill is another commonly misunderstood rule in Scythe, so check out my video on how to take benefits of the mill. Polonia doesn't have to put this where they spent the wood from. They can spend wood from any spaces that they control, and then they can place the mill anywhere where they have a worker. But Polonia only has a worker right there, so that's the spot where Polonia is going to put it. Okay? And then as a reward for building a structure, you see that Polonia gets 3 coins. But also, because I have enlisted the structure recruit, and because Polonia is sitting to my immediate left, I, as Crimea, get to increase my popularity. That's the end of Polonia's turn. So now, Albion moves. Albion's got a whole bunch of metal over here. So Albion's going to take advantage of that by also bolstering. I forgot to pay a coin for Polonia. Albion would first pay a coin for the right to move up 2 on the power track. All right. And then their bottom row action is going to be to pay 3 metal to deploy a mech. So they pay that. They then deploy whichever mech they wish, placing it on a space in which they have workers. And then they announce that they've taken the deploy action in case anyone has enlisted the deploy recruit. As it turns out, the only player to have done so is me, Crimea. I've done so. I've enlisted my recruit that triggers a bonus whenever I or certain of my opponents deploy a mech. However, the enlist action, the recruit bonus rather, only kicks in if you or the player to your immediate left or right has taken that action. And unfortunately for me, Polonia is to my left, Tagawa is to my right, Albion's across the table, so I don't benefit from that action. If either Polonia or Tagawa had that recruit in play, they would benefit because they would be seated next to Albion, but I'm not, so I don't get any kind of bonus. Albion will then complete their turn. They would gain 2 coins as their benefit. Now it's Tagawa's turn. Tagawa also chooses to bolster. They pay a coin for the right to finally get some power on the power track. And their bottom row action is to pay 4 metal to deploy a mech. They happen to have 4 metal. Okay. So they pay their 4 metal. They can deploy a mech anywhere where they have a worker. So even though I took the metal from this space, I'm going to choose to deploy it over here with these workers right here. And as my benefit, I get 3 coins. So I get 3 coins from the bank as my reward for deploying a mech. Now again, Tagawa will announce I have done the deploy action, and that's good for me because I have enlisted the mech recruit. Tagawa is to my immediate right, so the bonus is triggered, and I will get a bonus coin as a result. Tagawa's ended their turn, and now the play is back to me. So in summary, enlisting a recruit will potentially give you bonuses even when it's not your turn. It does not give your opponents any bonuses, and in fact, um, it may cause your opponents to think twice. So Polonia on that turn, you'll remember, built a structure which gave me a popularity, which enabled me to move from 6 to 7 on the popularity track, maybe putting me in a better position to win the game. So in fact, there's nothing wrong with enlisting. Enlisting will help you on your opponent's turn and give your opponents something else to think about before they take a particular action. Um, and that's how the enlist recruit function works in Scythe.